Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating book, Richard Bach's Illusions. It's full of some pretty strange, but also pretty wonderful ideas.
So think about this for a second. This is the question that kicks the whole thing off. It's kind of wild, right? But it's this powerful, a little bit absurd idea that really sets the stage for this deep dive into what reality even is. You know, the book doesn't start with some big, dramatic prophecy or anything. Nope, it starts with a simple story about a guy who was just really, really good at fixing cars. And this master, as he's called, wasn't born in some mystical land. He was born and raised in the public schools of Indiana. And here's the thing, he just believed he could help people. That's it. And because he believed it so strongly, it actually became true. Pretty soon, the auto shops where he worked were just packed with people. But they weren't there for a tune-up. They were there for healing. And yeah, that's when they started calling him a messiah. But imagine the pressure. Day and night, people are just swarming him, begging him to fix every single one of their problems. And he pretty quickly realizes, whoa, this is impossible. I mean, how can one person live the lives of thousands of other people for them? You just can't. So, just like that, he was done. He looks at the crowd, smiles, and walks away. Can you imagine? He just leaves these stunned crowds behind and goes right back to his ordinary life of men and machines, basically telling them, you gotta figure this out for yourselves. Okay, so that little story, that parable, that's the key to understanding everything that comes next. It unlocks the main story, which, like so many great adventures, starts out in the absolute middle of nowhere. So, meet Richard. He's our narrator, a barnstorming pilot flying his old biplane from town to town in the Midwest. He's making a living, and he's pretty content. But there's this part of him that's searching for something bigger. He's looking for a teacher, a master, someone who can finally explain how the world really works. And then one day, he spots it. Another vintage plane, this beautiful Travel Air 4000, just sitting there in a hayfield in Illinois. So he thinks, why not? And decides to land. And let me tell you, this one decision, it's going to change absolutely everything for him. Almost immediately, Richard starts noticing things that just don't make sense. See, his own plane is a constant fight, right? It's always covered in dirt, oil, bugs, the usual stuff. But this other plane, Shimoda's plane, it is pristine. Not a single bug on the propeller, no oil streak. It's just impossibly, almost magically clean. And well, it turns out Don Shimoda is that guy. He's the mechanic messiah from the story at the beginning, the one who just got fed up with the crowds and decided to live a quiet life as a barnstormer. And he agrees to teach Richard everything he knows. And so, their summer of lessons kicks off. All right, let's really get into this next part because this is the absolute core idea of the whole book. So, Shimoda's big reveal is this. Our world, everything we see and touch, is basically an illusion. It's not real in the way we think it is. We can't actually be hurt. We can't really die. Think of it like this. We're an audience watching a movie. We get invested in the story, we believe it for a little while because it's fun, or it teaches us something, or it's just plain exciting. Okay, so if life is just a movie, then who's running the show? Who's writing the script? Who's the director? And here's the punchline. It's us. You are. I am. According to Shimoda, we are the writers, the directors, and the stars of our own movies. Our imagination, that's the projector. It's what creates the entire world that we experience. So Shimoda doesn't just talk about this stuff. He gives Richard a practical test. He says, okay, manifest a blue feather. But it's not enough to just kind of wish for it. Richard has to imagine it so intensely that it feels totally real. He has to see himself holding it. And what do you know? A blue feather shows up. It's this idea that we can literally magnetize things into our reality just by using focused imagination. Now, to help Richard along, Shimoda gives him this little book he carries around. It's called the Messiah's Handbook, Reminders for the Advanced Soul. And it's weird. It's got these suede covers, but no page numbers. The idea is you just open it, and it magically lands on the exact page you need to read at that moment. So, this handbook isn't about a bunch of rules you have to follow. It's more like a collection of these really potent reminders. And this one gets right to the point. The idea is that trying to be true to anyone or anything else isn't just impossible, it's the sign of a fake messiah. And check this next one out. It just perfectly nails that whole you create your own reality thing. If you spend your time arguing for your limitations, well, congratulations, they're yours. You literally talk yourself into being small. But then there's the flip side of that, which is just this incredibly empowering message. The book says that you are never given a wish without also being given the power to make it real. Now, that doesn't mean it'll be easy. You'll probably have to work for it, but the potential is always there. Okay, so let's get to the climax of the story, because this is where everything builds to a final, really dramatic lesson for Richard. So you can imagine their ideas about personal freedom and creating your own reality, they don't sit well with everyone. They stir up a lot of anger. After one really hostile radio show, a guy in the crowd, who's just terrified by their message, shoots Shimoda with a shotgun. And Richard is left holding his friend, his master, as he dies. All of a sudden, that illusion feels horribly, horribly real. So, in his grief, Richard grabs the handbook looking for something, anything. And this is the line he finds. It's this beautiful way of saying that what looks like a terrible end from one perspective is actually a beautiful transformation from another. It's a change, not an ending. And then Richard has this dream, but it feels more real than being awake. And Shimoda's there, just casually patching a bullet hole in his plane's wing. And he explains, hey, I'm not dead. I just decided to leave that movie, change my focus. And that was the final lesson. Even death, the one limitation we all think is absolute, is just another illusion, one you don't have to buy into. And as Richard is processing all of this, he opens the handbook one last time and sees this final line on the page. And this, right here, is the book's ultimate takeaway. It hands all the power right back to you. It lays out this amazing, powerful way of looking at the world, and then at the very end it says, hey, maybe this is all wrong. You are your own authority. You get to decide what's true for you. What a perfect, challenging thought to end on.